You know, there's something interesting about video game adaptations, especially with films. People are always concerned that the adaptation involving the beloved video game character, regardless of what company they came from, is that people are more worried that if there's going to be an adaptation into film or into animation or into television, is it going to be faithful to the original source? Is it going to be something both creative and fun that the original audience can enjoy, but also bring to light a new and different perspective while giving a unique take and spin on the franchise? And look, it's no well kept secret that for a very, 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 very long time, video game movies in general just did not work. Period. At all. They were hot garbage. I'm just gonna say it outright. They were just hot garbage. But something kind of happened in some of the earlier years, around the, I want to say like 2015 ish, is when companies and brands started actually hiring on fans and people who, worked on the video games that we all grew up on to help adapt some of these things into movies and TV shows and film and so forth. There was a lot of hot buzz and take around the time when the first Sonic the Hedgehog movie came out back in 2020. Now, I know what you're thinking. Well, Crash, there's the animated Sonic the Hedgehog movie as well too that came out before it. But we'll discuss that one another day. That's not the topic of this review. When the movie came out, people were very concerned that this was going to be, oh, here we go, Hollywood's another big attempt at trying to do something that just to cash in for the sake of cashing in and not being faithful and interesting at all. But then more of their footage came out. And people really, really, really started liking it. And sure, at first, the design for a particular blue hedgehog was not that great from what the internet very rapidly and violently spoke out about, to the point where even other films have made fun of it. Which, by the way, unpopular opinion, but I actually kind of liked the campiness of the original design. It wasn't great, I still agree. It was pretty looking, but I'm glad they fixed it. I'm glad they touched up on it. So, but despite the design choices of our main titular blue blur, they went back and fixed it. And they redesigned the character. And they fixed and polished up the film and delayed the release a bit more. Was it worth it? Honestly, yeah, it was. Because you know why? Because the film was fun, it was cheesy, it was radical, it was unhinged, it was action-packed, it was heartfelt, it was emotional. It was just a good film. And that's the thing. A lot of people weren't expecting Sonic the freaking Hedgehog, of all things, to be the actual saving grace of like, hey, you can adapt a video game movie into something good. and still make it engaging and its own unique thing. Now, look, there have also been other video game movies that came out before it that, in my opinion, were also good. But again, it was very difficult to do because the problem is most video game movies were at most seen by the public as either mediocre, bland, or just average. We wanted something good, not average. So the point is this. How was Sonic the Hedgehog? Well, he sped on by with the box ratings and, the theater ratings. Box office ratings were great. Theater ratings were great. The tomato ratings were great. A lot of people just liked it. It was good. It was enjoyable. And you know what? I liked it too. It definitely brought in a mix of, campiness from the original games, nostalgia from, the actual source materials, a little bit of that kind of fun, sort of deeper, syndicated lore from, say, like the Archie comics and like the IDW comics and, just comics, but also knew that this was going to be a very goofy film. That also knew it was going to be action-packed and lots of comedy and lots of jokes. And look, when you've got a passionate team behind it that loved and enjoyed making the film and enjoyed being on set as much as they did actually, like, putting it all together, the effort shows. So, and even the marketing for this thing was actually pretty stellar. So, I remember liking it. It is a good movie. The plot is alright. I mean, it's Sonic the Hedgehog, so, everyone knows the plot by now, but it's basically kind of sort of like, oh, here's Sonic's mom, and, she sacrifices herself for Sonic. Sonic's in a new world. He gets found by these humans. They kind of sort of treat him as this sort of unknown thing, but then later on adopt him. And, I mean, look, there's a lot to it, but go watch the film if you haven't watched it by now. Seriously, what is this? 2024? I'm recording this? Go watch it. The animation's really smooth. The action's really great. The comedy is okay. For an action comedy sort of adaptation film, that was the one thing that I didn't really mind and like as much. The jokes in the comedy were okay in the first one. But everything else, the action, the set pieces, the music, the Easter eggs, the references, respecting the source material, and giving Sonic, the character himself, along with even the human character's actual decent depth, was really welcoming. And this was a quality and a labor of love. So, I like the Sonic movie. It is a good movie. So, I actually even own a copy of the film, physically. Including, if you give me one sec, a Blu-ray DVD digital copy with the Donut Lord comic. So, good comic. Good movie. Worth picking up. Go watch the first one if you haven't. I think it's also on Paramount Plus too, so if you got Paramount Plus, you could do that. If not, I'm sure you could rent it online for a couple bucks at this point. But definitely worth your time. Definitely a good movie. And definitely prepare yourself. Because the sequel, the second one, only ramps up the action and the craziness from there. Till next time.